Let me ask you a question. Would you like to give the power of your emotions to another person? Would you like to hand that over to somebody else and say, you know what, you're in charge of my emotions, you are in control of me? Would you like to do that? Now, my guess and my hope is that most people will say, well, heck no. I absolutely am not going to give up control of my emotions, how I feel, to another person. But I have news for you. Most likely, like 99% most likely, you already do. You already do. Do you ever have an encounter where what somebody says to you makes you feel good or bad, high or low, right? Sometimes it can be the way somebody looks at you. That guy's looking at me weird. That person's in control of your emotions. Literally. Right? That's not me being funny, trying to underscore a point. They are controlling your emotions. They are, with their words, their body language, controlling how you feel. Right? You're allowing them to control how you feel. Now, that's not to say that you're unique in that. We all allow that to happen from time and again. All of us, we're human beings. It's human to seek validation from other people. Whether we're seeking it or not, our subconscious is sort of always doing that. So it's normal for you to be affected by the words that other people might choose to say to you, the inflection in their voice, if they're angry, if they're sad, if they're happy. Those things can have an impact on us. And it's okay, right? You're human. You have human emotion. But I will ask again, do you want to surrender control of your emotions, of your feelings, to another human being? Let's talk more specifically. Do you have an individual in your life, or maybe multiple individuals in your life, that when you close your eyes and you think of somebody who has really hurt you, or somebody that you hate, I'll use a strong word, somebody that you hate, how does that person make you feel, right? Think about it for a second. Think about the feelings that you have when you are with that person or near that person, or they talk to you, or you just close your eyes and think about them. What are you feeling? Right? Is your skin getting hotter? Are you getting angry? Do you never want to see that person again? Any of those types of emotions going through you? Well, those are stronger, right? That's not just your day-to-day stranger on the street making you, giving you a compliment or saying something mean that bothers you momentarily. That's something that has a long-lasting effect on you, and a negative one, in my view, right? When we look to an individual to prop us up, even if it's positive, or if we are constantly waiting for them to tear us down and then we allow them to do so, that's negative. And most people can probably imagine somebody in their minds that has that power over them, right? They have that power over you. It's not a very good feeling. So again, let's ask the question, do you want to surrender control of your emotions to another human being? Again, hopefully the answer is no, but now we've got to figure out how to stop, okay? Number one, whenever you think of somebody that has had that negative impact on you, somebody that you're holding a grudge against, somebody that you hate, somebody who's done something really wrong to you, right? When you have that feeling, those negative feelings, when you think of them, make sure that the first thing you do is ask the question, why am I giving control of my emotions to this person? Why am I giving control of my emotions to this person? If a stranger on the street says something rude, or a car behind you honks, and it can make us feel bad, right? It can make us feel angry even. Again, ask yourself, the minute you start to feel that emotion, ask yourself, why am I giving control of my emotions to somebody else? Right? Why am I allowing them to impact how I feel today? I mean, that's not cool. You don't want to be at the mercy of somebody else for how your day goes. How was your day, honey? Crappy. Right? Somebody honked at me. Crappy. My boss was a jerk. Crappy. Somebody said I looked fat. Crappy. Somebody said I did a bad job. And every one of you has had that day where everything went wrong, but really it was a byproduct of what other people had to say or think about you. You let them ruin your day. You totally let them ruin your day. And again, no, totally normal. Totally normal for that to be the case, but you can stop it. Anytime somebody does something that makes you feel bad, they didn't really make you feel bad, you're feeling bad. right? But anytime you perceive that somebody is making you feel bad, stop and ask yourself, why am I giving them control of my emotions? Why? Why do they get to choose how I feel? They don't. Stop it immediately. I'll tell you a quick story about a boss I used to have. His name was John, and everybody disliked John. He was not the favorite. He was a jerk. I don't know how else to say it. Was not a nice individual. And in this call center that I worked at, I worked my way up from being an operator to a manager. And one day, a few years into working there and working for John, he went on a tirade, which was normal for him, and was lambasting us over something which I don't remember. But we were doing something wrong. We were losing money. It was the end of the world, right? Very common speech. And you could see the emotion in the room change, right? You could see the people in the room getting upset. They weren't saying anything, but you could see their faces getting long, their shoulders slumping, things like that, right? You could just tell that the air had been taken out of the room. And John went on and on and on. So anyway, a couple hours go by, and I had to go see John in his office for something. Don't remember what. It had nothing to do with the meeting itself, but went to go visit him, and he stopped, and out of the blue, he says, Mike, I just want you to know that you're going to make a great general manager someday. And I have to admit, that comment took me aback, because I was like, what? I was confused because he had just been yelling at us, and frankly, I wasn't very fond of him, and I perceived him to not be very fond of me. And so I was very, very confused by the comment for an instant, and I looked at him, and I'm sure I gave him sort of one of those puppy dog tilt to the head looks, like, what are you talking about? And he proceeds to explain. He says, you see, I can shit on you all day long, and it never affects you. And so what he thought was that I took so much pride in my job, and that I worked so hard that I needed that whipping, right? That I needed somebody to ride me like that, and I would do a better job. And he loved that about me. But that wasn't the case at all. What he didn't know, and what I certainly didn't tell him in that moment, and nor would I, right? He didn't deserve it, was that the reason that he could quote-unquote shit on me all day, in his words, and it had no impact on me, was because I couldn't have cared less what he thought of me. If John, my boss, told me I was doing a terrible job, why on earth would I listen to him? Why on earth would I feel bad about my performance? Now, if upon reflection I realized I was doing a poor job, I need to fix that. But I certainly wasn't going to allow him to dictate that I feel bad about my job. No, I was working my tail off. Absolutely, and I did a good job, and I was proud of the work that I did. And because of that, I wasn't going to allow him or anybody else to tell me I wasn't. Just because things weren't going perfectly didn't mean I was a piece of crap. Right? And I was not going to allow him to make me feel that way, and he never did. Right? He never did. Rarely complained about my boss. In the future, when people would, when I was a boss, and people would be interviewing for a position, I would ask them sometimes, why didn't you apply for this position a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, when the position came up? Because we'd have a lot of turnover in our supervisor ranks. And so there was opportunity for our frontline employees to move up and get some leadership experience, right? And I would always ask somebody who had never applied before but had worked for us for a long time, why didn't you apply, right? Why are you just now applying? I'm really curious, right? And it never ceased to surprise me how often the response was, well, I didn't want to work for so-and-so. I knew that the job was going to be reporting to so-and-so, and I didn't want to work for them. And that was always my opportunity to step in and say, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't control who the so-and-so is in your life, whether it's your boss, your mother, your father, whatever. You can't control that. Right? You could get the job. I could hire you today. You could be happy to work for me, and I might leave and you get stuck with so-and-so tomorrow. You don't know who you're going to work for, right? You don't know who you're going to work for. If you're working for yourself, you're working for all of your customers. And if you're working for a company, you're working for somebody or many somebodies. You can't control who that's going to be. So you can't give the power of your emotions, right? You can't give over emotional control to somebody who is your work superior. Because they're certainly not a human superior, they're just your work superior. Right? So they can't make you feel anything unless you grant them that right. Too often we do. But again, people always want to work for a boss they like. And I always say, take the job you want, make it what you want, don't allow anybody else to make you feel anything, right? You're in control of how you feel. Don't go through your day at the mercy of other people, right? In terms of how they make you feel. Your life will be a roller coaster, and it will be more miserable than it should be, right? So, again, anytime you have that feeling that somebody is controlling you from an emotional standpoint, stop and ask yourself, why am I letting them control me? Right? You do that enough and you will stop. Good luck.